Hi, everyone. Welcome to Medical Terminology. I'm Professor Penrod, and I will be your instructor for this spring for Medical Terminology, Meta 110. This audio lecture, or this little audio syllabus will cover, I have 3 sections, so it will cover course CNs 53373, 74, and 75. So it's all the same with those 3 sections. So let's go ahead and just kind of review some of the stuff. I'm not going to go through everything in here. Please go through if you have any questions, and then email me if I don't cover something and you have issues or you have questions about it, okay? There is a syllabus review sheet, so make sure after you've either read through it or listened to this that you sign it, and you'll get 5 points as your first assignment for that, and that's due by Sunday night. It's at 11:59 this week on the 7th, Super Bowl Sunday. So my office is in the S100 building, S318. However, we aren't on campus. I'm there for some labs a couple of days a week, but I can't access office hours that way. So I put the Zoom link and the meeting ID number here. I'll have Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 to 12 via Zoom. You can just go to zoom.com or zoom.us, and the meeting ID is here. I'm sure some of you are experts at this by now. And then I'm also having an hour on Tuesday from 12:30 to 1:30, and that meeting ID is located there. So if those don't work for you, please email me, let me know, and we can try to set up something else. Our class will meet fully online from February 1st today all the way till the 29th, which is a Saturday, May 29th. The final will be due that day at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so it's a 16-week course, 3 units. It is considered asynchronous, and so the difference between asynchronous and synchronous is that we will not have a set meeting time each week to meet. This class has had a lot of surveys done. We usually offer 8 classes in the spring, 8 classes in the fall, and usually 6 classes over the summer. And it's been taught online for about 4 to 5 years. And so the overall consensus of students has been they would much rather have it in an asynchronous fashion so that they can access and do the work at their own pace, and have audio lectures that can be listened to repetitively if they want. So there will be posted audio lectures on Canvas so that you can access it and listen to what you want. Some of them are a full hour in one, others are broken up into smaller segments, and so you'll kind of find that it varies a little bit from week to week on the chapters. Okay, so this class is very very interesting, can be a lot of fun. Some people find it a little dry because there is a lot to remember. It's a lot of terms, disease processes, and so there's a lot of memorization to it. And oftentimes taking some of that information and trying to link it to something in your life does help to make it easier to remember and easier to associate with. This is basically learning the medical language, medical terminology of medicine. And so getting a good foundation with this course is really important because it continues to build on everything you go as you kind of enter your journey into the healthcare profession. Most people that take this are not just doing it for the heck of it. Most of the people that take this course are going into some avenue of allied health, whether it's rad tech, physical therapy, medical assisting, nursing, PA school. There's a whole slew of different professions that this course is a basic foundation course, okay? And so it's very important to put effort into this class and not look at it as, oh my gosh, it's just so much information, I just want to get through it, because the stuff will come back. If you are going into the healthcare profession, this is the ABCs of your term paper. This is the foundation that will help you build upon all of the knowledge that you're going to go through and gain as you travel through your healthcare journey, okay? So just keep that in mind. Some people have no problem with this course. Other people do find that it can be quite content heavy with a lot of terms, but as you get into it, you will find that it becomes easier, and the more you learn, the better off you'll be later on as you go into other courses, okay? We're hoping 70% is our is our C grade or passing. So we're hoping that we can get everybody to that level. And so we will be using a couple of different measures. Because we're fully online, all of the tests will be on Canvas. It's a pretty fast-paced course. You're going to be taking a test at the end of each week, okay? There will be homework due. We are using discussion boards, and then I also included 3 case studies. So just make sure you check each week and look at what's due. The Canvas, I posted a little Canvas review just to kind of show you how we work out of. As far as how I set this module or how I set this up, everybody's a little bit different, all instructors. I set it into modular form, so as you click into the home page, if you click on modules, it will open up everything that you need to see, and it will give you all the information there that you'll need to access. You don't have to click on too many other things, okay? There will be one final exam at the end, and it's 200 questions, and a lot of people get a little intimidated, but it is cumulative. Okay, there's about 10 questions from every chapter, more or less. Okay, and so it is a cumulative thing, and the reason why it's cumulative is because this terminology doesn't go away. You're going to use it for the rest of your profession, and so you have to be able to learn, acclimate. You're not going to absorb every single thing or remember everything that you go through, but it's important to get the bulk of what you're doing in order to be able to build and move on to the next step, okay? So as we look through, we have a test every week. So every Sunday there will be an exam due at 11:59, so there are 15 scheduled exams. The amount of questions do vary a little bit. They're anywhere from about 40 to about 60, so it does vary. So please make sure that you check how many questions there are, because the time frames will change just a little bit week to week depending on the amount of questions that are in there. They are a combination of multiple choice, some fill in, but it's mostly multiple choice, true or false, and then matching. Okay, there's really no essay type questions. Okay, it is very important to take all of the exams on a computer or laptop. It is not a good idea to use an iPad or an iPhone. Canvas, unfortunately, is not very compatible with that. You can certainly read and go through and, you can access information, but some of the buttons will not show up on smaller devices. And so I definitely recommend not taking a test or an exam on a smaller device, okay? Because people will go, the matching part seems to be the hardest, that the drop downs don't work. And so please make sure that you've got a computer or a laptop. If you need a laptop, the school will be setting up some services to check out laptops for temporary use for the semester. So please, there are some emails that can be checked into as far as contacting someone to do that, okay? There is also homework assignments due at the end of each week. They aren't difficult, and they focus mostly on prefixes and suffixes, okay? There are anywhere from 1 to 3 sheets that are due each week, and they will vary depending on the week. So just make sure you always scroll all the way down and check out and see how many are due for that week. It's really important to get these down, but the book goes into more depth, and so you'll find that there's a lot of disease processes and a lot of labs and procedures. There's some anatomy and physiology in the chapter as well, so using the textbook and reading it and making notes from that textbook is very important, okay? The audio lectures are great, but they don't cover everything, especially in the first couple of chapters. And so it's very important to go through and read the chapters as well as going through the PowerPoints, and then taking notes on some of the disease processes and what have you in the book, because everything within the book is important and everything is fair game for a test, okay? There's also going to be discussion boards about every third week, give or take. There are 5 discussion boards, and some people like the discussion boards and some don't, but they're designed to create a little bit of community within the online platform. And so you will need to post your first board or first response by Thursday of that week that it's due by 11:59. And then either that day or sometime on Friday or Saturday, go back into the discussion board and read what some of the other people have posted. You can learn a lot by what other people write. A lot of people will bring up stuff that you had never seen or thought of. And then you need to reply to 2 of those posts by Sunday night at 11:59. Okay, so I tried to keep it very consistent as far as due dates. The first initial discussion board is due Thursday at 11:59. Responses, homework, and exams will be due by Sunday at 11:59. You can certainly do it sooner if you choose. Okay. The discussion boards there's a little rubric in here, but it's important in order to get full credit, you do have to make sure that the first post was done by Thursday at 11:59 and that it's a decently sized paragraph. Okay, I need at least 6 to 7 sentences. Some people write 2 or 3 kind of real vague sentences and then reply to a couple other people. And it's important to realize that this isn't a term paper, but it's important to take each topic and do a little bit of research on it. Okay, make sure you're using notable sources to get your information. You can certainly use the book. There is some information in there, but I'm really looking for you guys to kind of go to the CDC, go to the NIH website, check out JAMA, the Journal of American Academy of and other sources like Johns Hopkins. Okay, let's not use WebMD. Mayo Clinic is okay, but some of their information is a little bit vague. And so if you find something that you like, but it's vague, do a little bit more digging. Okay, take some time to research these subjects. It's a way to tie in what you're learning in class with these terms to try to tie it to real life situations. Okay, and so make sure that you post the link to what article that you used. This doesn't have to be in prototypical annotation form. If you have something that's a pure quote, then yes, you can kind of cite where you got it from, but just make sure that you're kind of paraphrasing what you read so that at the bottom of your post you put whatever sources. And you can use more than one. Some people use just one, other people will use 2 or 3, and I do sporadically click on them, and so I will click on and make sure I don't do it all the time, but I do sporadically and just kind of randomly click on something. So make sure that it's a good site, make sure it's a notable site, and make sure you give credit to the source that you got your information from. Okay. If we don't get all those things done, if we're missing our source, or if we don't turn in the first response on time, or if we don't respond to 2 sources, then we may only get partial credit. Okay. And so just remember that our dates are Thursday, Sunday, and if a lot of those things are not met, then you may not get credit for it. Okay. All right, but these can be fun. Look at them in a positive way. And the nice thing is sometimes the first time it seems a little intimidating because you don't know how much to write. I've had people write sometimes 2 to 3 paragraphs. It really depends on the subject. Most of the subjects that I've chosen for you to do these discussion boards on are meaty, meaning there's a lot of information. You could go a lot of different ways with it. And so don't feel like you have to write 6, 7, 8 paragraphs, but definitely take time to analyze and bring forth some information that kind of enlightens you and might enlighten other people that are reading it. Okay. There's also going to be 4 case studies, and what these case studies is basically like an operation note or a patient's note, and gives us information about what's going on with that individual. And so sometimes they seem a little overwhelming, but what it's designed to do is to kind of help you start to read operation reports and SOAP notes. A SOAP note is the way that doctors actually document information. And it just kind of gives you a chance to start seeing it, start analyzing it, start looking at utilizing the medical terms that you're learning, and then be able to pick that stuff out and go, oh, wow, yeah, I know what that word is now. And so I'm not expecting you to be experts at these, but I want you to give it a good try. I didn't set these up as discussion boards, but I will post kind of my version of the analysis after everybody has turned theirs in, so Monday or Tuesday the following week. These will also be due Sunday at 11:59, and it will be specified as we get into the schedule a little bit later. Okay, and then there's one final exam. All of our tests will be due Sundays except the final exam. The final exam, because the semester ends on the 28th. The test will be due at 11:59 on Saturday, May 28th, and I will send reminders that week to let you know, but I just want you to make sure that you understand that all other exams are due Sunday except the final, which is due Saturday. All right, so the grading scale. We have a prototypical grading scale. An A is 100% down to 90, a B is 89.99 to 80, and then so on and so on down the line. The only thing I can tell you is that it's really important to make sure that you're doing all of the assignments. Sometimes, generally every semester will have 5 or 6 students that are right on the borderline. They'll come at 89.4, 89.3, or 79.26, and then they always want to be bumped up. And so what I can tell you is that, make sure you do all your homework. Sometimes that 5-point homework can make the difference between 2 grades. And so I would suggest that even though some of the range varies a little bit on the point scale, but I would definitely make sure that you get the homework done, utilize the homework as a review to test yourself as far as the important word components that you're learning, but please make sure to do all the work, because there are always people that come down to just 5 to 10 points. It sometimes makes the difference between the grades. So please make sure you're doing all of the homework. The more work you put into this, the more you'll get out. Okay. All right, so I will be posting lectures. A couple of the lectures are by a fellow colleague. I'm still in the process of transferring this whole course into my own, and so I have a couple of borrowed lectures from a colleague that is also a PA. And so I am in the process of redoing everything. So some of the voices that you hear will be mine and some will be hers. So just expect I'm in the process of changing those. So hopefully I'll get a chance to do some of the rest of them as I go through. Okay. So there's, I will post the PowerPoints alone, and then there will also be a link that says audio so that you can have a voiced over lecture. Okay. The book that we're using is Comprehensive Medical Terminology by Betty Davis Jones, the 5th edition, and then there's the number there, the ISBN number. It can be purchased on Amazon. It can be purchased through the bookstore as well. The bookstore is charging $7.50 for a delivery fee. There is a workbook that goes along with it. It isn't mandatory to buy the workbook. If you want extra work in order to help quiz yourself, you can, but it is not mandatory, and I didn't even list it as an optional text because it's not part of our curriculum, but it certainly goes along with the book, and if you wanted to buy it, you can. The book is expensive enough as it is. So this is the course outline. We are basically covering the entire body, okay, including radiology and pharmacology. So this kind of goes through and lists all the body systems that we'll be going through, okay, and so it is a lot of material. All right, our allied health programs do require a C or higher in order to continue in their program. That's just listed there because this class actually does feed into some of our allied health professions, and the only way that you can qualify to get into one of those is if you obtain a C or higher in this course, okay? There are some important dates here as far as when to drop without a W. There's a census day. There is a couple of holidays in here. Doesn't really affect the online platform. We do have spring break from the 29th to April 2nd. So you'll get 2 weeks when we get to that module to get that done. Nothing will be due during spring break, but you can work on your module and get everything done if you want for that particular week. Okay. The semester ends on the 29th, and then grades will be due the following Friday, or will be available the following Friday. Okay. So the participation is important. I really do need to see those posts. It's important with the discussion posts to make sure that we are very respectful of each other. And when you respond to your classmates, please make sure that everything is thoughtful and positive. If you criticize them, it's not going to be a positive environment. So we have to conduct ourselves as we would if we were in class, because everyone will have the capability of visualizing your posts. Okay. So please make sure that that first initial post that you come up with is posted by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. And then the two responses to your classmates are posted by Sunday at 11:59. Okay. Once again, be respectful, positive. You can respond and say, hey, this is a great article. I went and looked at it. You had some really great points, and this is what I like. So there's different things that you can put in there. Sometimes they reported on the same article that you did, and you can talk about some similarities too. So just make sure that everything is positive that you translate through there. Okay. Let me know if you think you need to drop. I know that we're in COVID time, and it definitely has made things challenging for some people. Some people have to work more. Some people have higher responsibilities. Other people are dealing with kids at home. And so I know there's a lot that's going on. So just try to keep in touch with me. If you think you need to drop, it certainly is fine. I don't want anybody to force themselves to do something that they maybe can't, do at this moment. And we want you to be successful. And so if things are preventing you from being able to study and you're not doing well on tests and you'd rather withdraw and take a W, just let me know. I certainly understand. And there's times where I'll recommend that students do that. So that does happen at times too. Okay. So just make sure you check your dates, and I'll usually send out reminders as far as those dates so that you can get the W in enough time, because after a certain point, you have to take a grade. So just keep all that in mind. Okay. All right, study tips. Very important with this class. There's, I think I even have a little link in Canvas that kind of talks about some of the different study tips. Prototypically, we work when we're on campus. I like to have students work in groups and get a study buddy, because it's really important to have that person to bounce this stuff off of. If you've got somebody in your household that maybe, is willing to work with you with this, having somebody that can go through the information can really make it easier. Staying on task, separating your time out. I really recommend that people spend a little bit of time every day on this class. I would not recommend waiting all week and then trying to do everything on Friday or Saturday. It's much more difficult to memorize this stuff when you try to cram it. If you do little bits at a time and try to reinforce it, it does make it easier. And when you look at the amount of material that's in here, that visual reinforcement, the auditory reinforcement, and then the kinesthetic reinforcement. A lot of people nowadays don't want to write, but seeing it and hearing it is great, but a lot of people need to write it down. And so that's part of the reason why we do the suffix and prefix sheets, because the more you write it, the easier it sets in. Okay, sometimes you've got to do it multiple times in multiple different ways in order to absorb it. Okay. Set time aside to study, make sure it's quiet. And like I said, don't procrastinate. Okay. If you buy the ebook version, you could always have that on your phone. Sometimes that's easier than dragging the book around. There is an ebook version available if you choose to do that. I don't personally like that as much, but it certainly is lighter and easier to deal with. So that's always a possibility. And even if you catch somebody, there's the Pronto is an area in Canvas where you could drop a note. Maybe there's somebody that you might want to get together and see if you could do some, FaceTiming or a Zoom call with somebody so that you have a chance to kind of see someone and go through and test each other. So there's ways of doing it virtually that aren't, that we normally would do in class. So there's options out there to try to contact and get in touch with someone in your class so that you can develop some of those relationships. Okay. If you have DSPS accommodations, please just make sure that you send them to me as soon as possible, so that I can get everything logged into the system as quickly as possible. There's some other information about Title 10 and some resources if you need them. Because this is an online class, we do need to talk about academic honesty and academic integrity. And so it's very important to realize that this is an online course, but that doesn't mean that exams are open book, okay? I realize it's very tempting because you've got a phone and you've got a computer and you have the textbook and you could write notes, and it's easy just to have all of that stuff at your disposal. By all means, for the homework and for the case studies and for the, the discussion boards, that's perfectly fine. But once we come to the test, you need to set yourself in a quiet spot in your house or wherever you are, and make sure that you don't have any, external devices or notes or book with you. If you use those sources to get through this class, it will come back to haunt you, because if you don't learn everything in a solid fashion or set that foundation as you move on to other courses, you're going to be lost and you're going to be behind. And so it's very important to realize that it's not going to behoove you to use outside sources to get through this. Okay, and so please keep that in mind. I can also see when people leave the Canvas site. Okay, and so the Canvas site tells me when you log in, how long it takes you to take the test, and if you leave the site. And so you need to realize that I sporadically check students as well. And if you are leaving the site, it will tell me. And I've had people leave the site 50 times during the test, going back and forth looking at their book. Okay, and so you have to realize that if you do that, that is in violation of academic integrity, and I can report you to the dean if that becomes an issue. Okay, any test that you're caught cheating with will be a 0. Okay, and so I want you to realize that you need to take this seriously, and you can be subject to disciplinary, action, as well as possibly failing the course if you are using external devices for this particular class. Okay. So let me know if you have any questions on that, but please understand that this course is not just, a prereq for, sociology. Those are all important courses, but this one is a building, is a building block of your career. And I'm assuming if you're here that you've got either are for sure going into healthcare or at least making a decision. And so take the time to put the time in that's needed for this class so that you can set that foundation and you don't need to worry about having to feel like you need to use outside sources to pass the class. Okay. There's some extra counseling things, some extra services in here that if you need can help you out. And then here we are at our spring schedule. We will stick to this fairly, shouldn't be a problem sticking to the schedule. So you will have work due each week. Okay, so the first week, which is this week, you'll be going through chapters 1 and 2. These are the word building rules. And so these rules are important because as you go through and start learning how to peel these words apart, these words help make sense so that you can actually establish that foundation. Okay, and then we start with prefixes. All right, so the homework for these will be due on Sunday, February 7th at 11:59. There is no discussion board this week. Okay, there's just homework. There is a syllabus review sheet that needs to be signed, and then there is a I take that back. There is a discussion post because there's a student introduction. And so if you go into the discussions tab, which is on the left side, vertically, on the left side of the screen, it says discussions. Click on that. There will be an area to click on and it says student post. And so it's just an introduction post. There's a couple questions to answer. Just introduce yourself, why you're in the class, what your prior history is, have you taken other online courses, and maybe study techniques if you've taken a lot of online courses that you've learned that have helped make you successful in other classes. Okay, so those are the 3 things that are due on Sunday. homework, which is actually pretty short. It's only prefixes. There isn't any homework from chapter 1. It's just chapter 2. And then your introduction and your review sheet. And then there is an exam. Exam number 1 will be due by 11:59 on Sunday. Okay. And then we basically just follow through weekly. Okay, there are some weeks where most of the weeks we have 1, but there are a few weeks where we have 2 because we do cover 18 chapters in 16 weeks. Okay, week 2 is chapters 3 and 4. Same thing, there's homework due. No discussion board is due that week. And then as we go through, the first discussion board will be on chapter 5, the integumentary system, the week of the 15th. Okay. And so as we go down, you can see we are pretty much covering every body part. We go to the skeletal system, the muscles and joints. And so every discussion post and every case study is highlighted in yellow to kind of just kind of draw your eyes to it and to alert you. It will be noted on Canvas as well. And I generally send out reminders at the beginning of the week and then on the weekend as well to kind of remind you about everything. And then, like I said, the case studies will be due. They're not due the same week. There'll either be a discussion post or a case study, not both. And those will be due also Sunday, the week of that, the week that is posted. Okay. So we have 4 discussion posts and we have 4 case studies and 5 discussion posts. Okay. There is spring break. Obviously, you're online, and so what ends up happening is that you just get an extended period of time to do chapter 13, or to start and do the cardiovascular system. I apologize. Endocrine will be due on the 28th. Spring break is the 29th, so this will open, and so you'll actually have 2 weeks for this, even though nothing's due till the 11th. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Kind of nice that week. Nothing is due at the end of spring break on the 2nd or 3rd, but you'll get 2 weeks to do the cardiovascular system. Okay. Last day to drop is the 16th. After that, you would have to take a grade. So I'll start giving you reminders as we get to that point, because we want people to make sure that they're successful and that they're getting the grade that they're capable of getting. And so I'll usually send out a reminder if you're struggling at that point. Sometimes that's the part. Sometimes taking a W is better than taking an F. Okay. All right. Most of that way was 1 chapter. As we hit May, we do have 2 chapters these 2 weeks, radiology and pharmacology, and then the following week we have male and female reproductive system. Okay. And there isn't any homework due this last week. The final is cumulative, and it is due on Saturday instead of Sunday. Everything else is due Sunday. Okay. All right, so I just wanted to kind of go through this. I didn't cover everything. If you have any other questions, please email me. I'll post this, and then let's have a great semester. And it was very nice talking to you, and we'll see you soon, okay? Let me find my off button, and I will see you in the classroom. All right, take care.